Good evening. Welcome to Tea Talks, our trauma education and advocacy station. I am your certified trauma support specialist and host, Richanda Birks, and we meet every Wednesday at 7 p.m. to talk about trauma and how it affects us and what we can do to become better people. So, my goal is to help you reclaim your life after trauma has affected you. So, before I get started, I always like to talk about my mug of the day or month. So, this mug is actually really cool. It was a birthday gift from one of my sisters in Christ, and Kimberly. Thank you, Kimberly. And it's a clear mug and it says Tea Talks on it. And I absolutely love it. This is my first time using it. I'm excited to have it with you today. So, this is my mug of the month. And we're going to talk about forgiveness today. We're going to talk about trauma and how important it is to learn to forgive. As we have been talking and I've been conversing with you all talking about trauma and how trauma literally takes a lot from you and it doesn't give anything. The one thing that it does affect always is your relationships. Relationships are important to us. We are people who are designed to connect. We are made to be intimate with each other. We are made for touch. We are made for love. We are made that way because God created us in his image and he is love. That is one of the characteristics of our Lord, is that he is love. And so when we have that love in our lives, it conquers everything. It overcomes everything. But what happens when you have dealt with adversities and traumas is your relationships suffer tremendously. And it's hard for you as a person to connect to other people. You may feel fearful, you may feel doubtful. When people do things to you, you hold grudges. There's a lot of shame and guilt that is attached to trauma. So, first of all, I want to let you guys know to please like and share this broadcast. We want to build people who we want to grow our community and build people who want to reclaim their lives, who made the decision that I will not live this way anymore just because of the things that I've gone through. Our experiences, our past, all of those things shape who we are, shapes our culture. It shapes our culture. And when we talk about culture, it's not necessarily culture like, people think of race and ethnicity and things like that. But culture is literally who you are, the way, who you were, the parents you were born to, how you grew up in your household, the things that were taught to you. And everybody doesn't have the same thing. So we look around sometimes and we think, didn't they know that? That was common sense. It made absolute sense to me. But when you think about how people were brought up, their cultures are different. So what you may have been taught, they may not have been taught. And so now it's our job to help people and not judge them, right? And that's what begins to happen. So in our cultures and the things that we've gone through, all of that shapes who we are as individuals. You can't help it. From the moment that you were born, how much touching you had, how much hugging you had, if someone picked you up and said everything is going to be okay, all of that determines how you excel and how you mature into your adolescence and adulthood. Okay, so that's first and foremost. What happens is when we deal with things that kind of can shake us and kind of are unexpected. Trauma, for one thing, you have to realize that trauma is unexpected. There was nothing the person could do to stop it, and the person was not prepared. I'm going to repeat that. When a trauma happens, there are three things that you should look at. That the person was not prepared for it, it was an unexpected, and there was nothing that they can do to stop it. That's what happens when trauma comes into play. And then your reaction of that trauma. If you've ever been chased by a dog or a deer has jumped out in front of your car, there's a reaction that your body does. And it's natural because our bodies are designed, as I've explained to you in the past, our bodies are designed to protect ourselves. We were built to detect when we're safe and when we're not safe. So if you've ever been chased by a dog, which I was chased by a dog at 12, weird, my neighbor's dog, but chased by a dog. And I was so terrified, so terrified that I started to run and I tried to get away from the dog. But it was an experience for me that made me afraid of dogs for a very long time. Especially, it was a German Shepherd. I had been afraid of German Shepherds for like years. And then I had to again work through that and get through that. But when things like that happen, it brings on a fear. And when that fear occurs, you're always scanning your area to see what's safe and what's not safe. Our brains are designed that way. I say that to say when trauma happens, I talk about relationships. It affects your relationships. And in affecting your relationships, as soon as something happens, as soon as someone does something that upsets you or that hurts you, there's this piece of unforgiveness that sneaks in. Now, forgiveness is powerful. I want to tell you guys that forgiveness is powerful because it frees you in so many areas of your life. It frees you to be you. It frees you to move in a certain way. It frees you to get back to where you should be in your life. But when you hold unforgiveness, when you hold on to unforgiveness for many, many years, it literally reacts. Your body begins to react like you were being chased by that dog. Remember, I mentioned the dog. So when you have unforgiveness, your body is tense. Every time that something happens and it triggers you, your body gets tense. Your mind gets tense. You can't relax. You can't allow people in your space because you're thinking, when is the next time that this is going to happen to me? But I want to tell you that forgiveness is a powerful, powerful tool that you can have in your belt. It's powerful. Because what it does is, again, it allows you to walk freely. See, we sometimes carry this unforgiveness towards individuals, and they have no idea that you feel this way. They're walking around, living their life. They're just hunky-dory. Everything's good. But you, on the other hand, are really, really suffering inside when you're dealing with this, when you haven't let it go. And I want to be clear that I believe, in my mind, I believe that the reason that we can't or we have a hard time with forgiving is because we feel like when we forgive, it lets that person off the hook. You know, that it excuses what they've done. And that is absolutely not true. What forgiveness does is it frees you. It frees you to be you again. It's not like, because sometimes when you forgive people, oftentimes when you forgive people, you never have to be friends with them again. You never have to sit down and have dinner with them again. You never have to let them in your space again, because the lesson that you learned from that person was that if they hurt you, that I don't want to be hurt again. I don't want to allow you to make me feel the way that you felt again. But I forgive you, which means I release you from my spirit. I release you from my heart. I release you because I need to be a better person. I need to be better in my life. And by me holding on to this unforgiveness for you, I can't fully get everything that belongs to me. I can't fully live a life that's pleasing to me and pleasing to God. So we have to forgive, and it's powerful. And the way that you know that you forgive is a couple things. If you see the person who wronged you and you don't want to retaliate against them, or you don't want to say anything bad against them, and you pray for them, you wish them well, that's how you know that you've forgiven. And forgiveness is a choice. I want to say that it's not a feeling. You don't feel forgiveness because you don't want to. You know, you don't feel, I don't feel like I should do that. This person wronged me, or this situation, they caused this situation to happen. I don't feel good about this, but it's not a feeling. It's literally a decision. And there's a difference. We can't always trust our emotions because our emotions are fickle. We're hot one day, we're cold another day, we're up one day, we're down one day, and that is because we are human. So our emotions can't always be trusted. But when we make up our mind and make a decision, we can stand by that decision and be intentional about the decision that we're making. So again, it's a decision. It's not a feeling. It's not always going to feel like you want to do it, but it's necessary. It's necessary for your health. It's necessary for your physical health. We often think sometimes that our bodies are detached. My brain is different than my stomach, than my arm. Your brain and your mind and your thoughts and your heart, all of that controls everything. The way that you move, the way that you walk, the way that you talk, all of that is controlled by your mind, your brain, and your heart. All of that goes together. It's whole body health. Everything about you is wholeness. So when you have forgiveness in your heart, when you have forgiveness, it causes stomach aches, it causes nausea, it causes pains, the somatic symptoms, like all of a sudden you have pains in your body and you don't know where it's coming from. Sometimes we have to look at, are we holding unforgiveness for someone? Are we having headaches? Those things. Are we holding some unforgiveness that we just can't let go? Because all of that's doing is keeping your body on high alert, and it's breaking down your digestive system, is breaking down your immune system, is breaking down, because it's literally a stressor. Unforgiveness is a stressor. So we have to forgive in order for us to feel better and to move better. So again, you don't have to let that person back into your space. That's not what it is. But it literally helps you feel free, be free, right? Be free. So that's what we want to do. We want to be free, and we want to be able to say, I'm okay. So the second thing I talked about when you forgive someone, first off, when you see them, you don't want to retaliate. You don't have anything bad to say about them. You wish them well and you pray for them. The second thing, if there's an opportunity that comes around for you to get them back, or for you to get them back, so to speak, in quotation marks, and you don't take that opportunity, you've forgiven them. If that person is in a bad space or in a bad way, and you literally take the time out to help them, you've forgiven them. But if you're still holding that and you look and say, that's what they get, or, they deserve that, then you know that you truly haven't forgiven. You're holding on to this resentment that's not good for you, most of all, because you're not hurting that person. You're more so hurting yourself. There's a story years ago, I think it was back in the 80s. This young man, he was 18 years old, and it was around his prime time. And he went out with his friends. They were drinking, and he wanted to get in the car and start driving. His friends was telling him, no, we'll drive you home. And he was like, no, I'm okay. I only live a few miles down the road. I'm going to go and I'm going to drive home. I'm good. So his friends let him go. Lo and behold, he's driving down the road, and he hit this young girl, and he killed this young girl. He killed her. So they went to trial and everything. Her family was devastated. His family was devastated. And they went to trial and everything. And the only thing that her parents wanted him to feel the same pain that they felt. And I want to make that a point. No one's ever going to feel the way that you feel. No one's ever going to feel the hurt that you feel. So trying to get them back is not conducive. They're never going to feel the same pain that you felt when you went through your situation. So we want to say that first and foremost. So it's not going to happen. The parents wanted him to write them a check every week for 18 years, because she lived to be 18. She died at 18. For 18 years, they wanted him to write them a check for $1 every single week for 18 years. That was the conditions of that's how they wanted him to be punished. So the judge granted that. And the amazing thing is, he said, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write $1, all the checks at once, and I'm going to mail the checks off. And when he did that, they went back to court and they told the judge that they wanted him to literally send off a check for $1 every week. And that's the way that they wanted to do it, because they wanted him to remember the pain that he had caused them. And so and I got to think of the guy's name. I'll probably revisit this when it comes to my mind, either today or next week when we get together. But So that's how they wanted it. So he began to write the checks. And when he came back later, the one thing that he said is, he said this was the most painful thing that he ever had to do, because in the memo he had to put the young lady's name. And so every time he wrote that check for $1, he had to remember what he had done to her. And when you think about that, that is a cruel type of punishment. But that's what we look for when people hurt us. We want them to feel the way that we feel, and that doesn't happen. So why are we holding on to it? Again, when you get the opportunity to get back at someone, you choose not to. You're praying for that person. You're wishing them well. If they came upon hard times, you're jumping in to say, I'm going to help that person. And I release them of everything that they've done for me. Unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. That's what unforgiveness is like. It's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. We can't live our lives like that, because we're constantly in bondage. We see people walking around every day. We look at the things that are happening in the world, and there are a lot of people who are angry, and they're angry at not only other people, but they're angry at themselves, because unforgiveness can make you angry with you, because you're still not free. You're not free to be the person that God wants you to be, the person that you're supposed to be, because you're holding on and you're saying, I want this person to pay for what they did to me. They'll never pay for what they did to you. They won't pay in the way that you say. They won't pay in the way that you think. The word says, vengeance is mine, says the Lord. We never have to put our hands on anything, because when we begin to put our hands on things, it backfires on us. We lose our blessing. We fall off where we're supposed to be. So don't try to get back at people. Forgive people. We're not, it's not our job to judge them. It's not our place to, when you see them doing bad, to say that's what they get. That's not our job. Our job is to always feel the love. Remember I told you we're people who are connected. And when you do that, it's such a blessing in that. It's so powerful in that. You can literally be an intercessor for someone. You can literally pray for them and wish them well when you truly forgive. And those are the ways that you know that you've forgiven. Things that happen to us, God is not pleased with what we had to deal with, but he never left us. He's not in agreement with it, because he dealt, when Jesus walked the earth, he dealt with the same type of traumas that we deal with today, the same type of hurt, betrayal, people lying on you, people doing, hurting you physically, mentally, emotionally. He dealt with all that. But if you remember on the cross, he said, when they were beating him, he said, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. And he said that because they didn't understand what may come down the line for them. So he will take care of everything that needs to be taken care of. He is the judge and jury, not us. He is the one who makes things right. He is the one that balances the scales. But when we try to put our hands on it, it only brings about more misery, more discomfort. We are contributing to the demise of the world when we do that. We are contributing to the turmoil that people are dealing with. We are contributing to the turmoil that is in our lives. And we want to be better. We always want to be better. So again, please like and share this broadcast. Thank you guys for joining me on Tea Talks this evening. This is Trauma, Education, and Advocacy, where we talk about trauma. See, what I've learned by doing this for the last year and a half is that people don't want to talk about these things, but it's so needed. It's so important, because every day you see something that can shake you. Every day you see something, some type of violence or crime that happens in our own communities, in our own neighborhoods. And it can affect us in ways where we don't even know, we don't even understand. So we begin to behave a certain way. We begin to act a certain way. And you guys will hear me saying, you've heard me say this in the past, all behavior is communication. Anything that you do, you're communicating something to the people around you, to the people in your circle. If for those of us again who have had children, and when our babies are young, they cry. Why do they cry? Because they're trying to tell us something, whether they're hungry, whether they're wet, whether they're sleepy, whether they're in pain, whether they're tired, irritable, whatever it is, they are crying. And what's happening in the world is people are crying out. And when it hits you, or when you have when it hits your backyard, I'm gonna say, when things begin to hit our backyard, like illness and crime and hurt and pain, we tend to hold on to those things, and we want revenge. We want people to pay. We want to be angry. We want to lash out. But the best thing that we can do is ask God to give us wisdom, to ask God to give us understanding in what is going on, not to put your hands on it and try to retaliate. If you think about people, you think about people who drive by and they shoot people and they're doing things like that. They're retaliating against something. They're targeting people and retaliating. So not only is one life affected, many lives are affected. Many lives are affected when you don't forgive and you're looking for revenge, because we speak things that come true. We think things. Our thoughts become our words, and our words become our actions. So we have to be careful about what we're putting out into the world, into the atmosphere, what we're saying, what we're believing, and how we're thinking. And because we're hurting ourselves internally, we want to be healthy from head to toe. Everything affects everything else. So forgiveness is key. It's powerful. It's such a powerful place to be. Even when people, you've gone through things with people, and you see them later on in life, and they're dealing with something, pray for them. Pray for them. Forgive them truly in your heart. And when you think of them, bad thoughts won't come to your head if you truly forgiven. You'll immediately begin to pray and intercede for them. So I want to tell you guys, I just wanted to jump on here and tell you guys how powerful forgiveness is. It's nothing like it in the world. You will definitely feel your heart will be free. You can walk around clear, but you first must forgive. It is not our job to carry that. It's not healthy mentally. It's not healthy emotionally. Yeah, things happen, but it's not your job to carry that. It's not your duty to get revenge. It's not your job to wish bad on anyone, because when we do that, we're not reclaiming anything. We're allowing what happened to us to win. And we are all winners. We're winners because we're overcomers. We're overcomers because we're victorious. We're victorious because we allow God to redeem us. We allow God to restore us and keep us. And we want to reclaim our lives. So thank you for joining me on Tea Talks today. I hope you guys had a wonderful day. Please like and share this broadcast, and we will be back next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Thank you guys. And again, for those of you who join me a little bit later, this is my mug of the month for the rest of the month of May. It is a mug that says Tea Talks. I absolutely love it. Thank you to my sister Kimberly for this lovely birthday gift. So I'll talk to you guys a little bit later.